Prayer will be offered tonight by City Clerk Dan Healy, and Alderman Tebow will lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Almighty God, we have the high honor and the serious duty to manage the affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance, please.
Alderman O'Brien. Alderwoman.
Alderman O'Brien is recovering from surgery, and he's getting better every day, so we're hoping he recovers quickly and will be back with us soon. Sorry, Mr. Clerk.
Alderwoman Timmons.
Here.
Alderman Moran.
Here.
Alderman Thibodeau.
Here.
Alderman Govea.
Here.
Alderman Lopez.
Here.
Alderman Sullivan.
Here.
Alderman Clemmons. Alderman Senate.
Here.
Alderman Jettie.
Here.
Alderman Tebow.
Here.
Alderman Clee.
Here.
Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Alderwoman Kelly.
Here.
Alderman Wilshire.
I am here, and I also heard from Alderman Clemmons. He had a family emergency and will probably not be joining us this evening.
So 13 present and 2 absent.
Thank you very much. Also joining us this evening is Mayor Jim Donchis and Corporation Counsel Steve Bolton. Mayor, did you wish to address the board this evening?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes. First of all, I wanted to join you in wishing Alderman O'Brien the best following his surgery. His family says he's recovering nicely, and so we miss him and look forward to seeing him soon back to good health and attendance here at our meetings. Madam President, the first thing I wanted to mention, in addition to OBI, is the executive order that you probably all saw today regarding the freezing of federal funds across the board, I guess. It has caused a just mass confusion as to what this applies to. And no one can determine for sure what is frozen and what is not. I talked with Senator Shaheen's office, and they also are trying to clarify what might be affected or what is affected. Of course, there are individuals in the city who could easily be hurt. People on Section 8, Head Start, people on food stamps, that's unclear. People on Medicaid. As far as city operations go, of course, we have the bus system. We could not possibly operate the bus system without federal funds. And were that shut off, we would really just we have no choice but to shut the system down. We have CDBG money. In the schools, we have Title I funds that are help to educate young kids in the 5 Title I elementary schools. So there are many activities that could be affected. FEMA is another one. FEMA is another one. So we will continue to investigate and report to you regarding what we learn on that front. I wanted to thank the group of people who is interviewing the potential developers for the Elm Street Middle School. Of course, we have city staff plus the chair of the Infrastructure Committee, Alderman O'Brien. Alderman Dowd is sitting in for him as vice chair. The chair of the Planning Committee, Alderman Moran. The Ward 6 Alderman, Alderman Thibodeau. And I think they've come down to 2. They might have a preference, but they've come down to 2. And I think the plan is to hold public meetings where those two top finalists can present to the public and get public input. So I think the process is very well planned, and I think that the proposals that you will see in these public presentations are interesting, and will, at least one of them will preserve the building and will, add a lot to the neighborhood, I think. I did want to mention, Madam President, quickly, article in the Union Leader. When was this? A couple days ago. The headline, many seeing higher tax bills as property values take off. And the subhead is statewide equalized property value jumped 51% between 2020 and 2023, and it talks about how much property taxes are going up in all these towns. So we are not the only ones affected by these revaluations. I just thought that was interesting, and there's a sticker over the date, but it's been in the last couple of days if you want to check it out. The pension, I was able to testify in favor of Senate Bill 20? Alderman Govea was there too. Whatever it is, it's a Cindy Rosenwald bill, Senator Rosenwald, to provide a 7% reimbursement to cities and towns for our state pension obligation, to in part meet the state's promise of 35%, which of course they have not been honoring. That was an interesting hearing. If we had a little more time, I could tell you more about the details, but there are a couple other things, Madam President, I wanted to mention. David Boucher, who's the head of the wastewater treatment plant, the superintendent, is here to answer the questions regarding the alarm system, which came up at the last meeting, the $1 million plus contract. I thought you were asking about this emergency repair that took place over there, but he's going to explain the details if you wish. I wanted also to mention that there's a public meeting presentation on February 3rd at 10:30 a.m. at the Board of Public Works meeting. At that time, the investment advisor for the Public Works pension system will make a presentation regarding the investments of the largest trust fund that the city has, constituting $55 million, which is the pension trust fund. The investment manager is RBC Wealth Management, managing over $1 trillion of assets throughout the country. And I would suggest the Board of Aldermen, anybody who wants to attend, it's 10:30 at the DPW. Just so people can see it, we will probably try to get it televised, and whether it's live or recorded, I'm not sure, but then people can watch it on TV as well, to assure people that this fund is being certainly properly managed by a very competent investment advisor. And finally, Madam President, I wanted to mention the sad passing of Bob Kagan, who was the proprietor, owner of Myoptic, kind of almost right across the street, the glasses company. He was a real character, but also an artist in terms of the quality of the service and the products that he had. He told me recently had a record year. I think he was doing really well with the store. I'm wearing one of his pairs of glasses right now, so I was a customer. But he was a great guy, and it's sad that, he is no longer with us. And that's all I have, Madam President, for the moment.
Mayor, responses to the remarks of the mayor. Alderman Lopez.
I just wanted to comment also on the passing of Bob. I'm also wearing some of his work, and I'm kicking myself because I need a new pair, and I could have gone to him in December. Bob, I think everybody probably knows him, whether you know it or not. He frequently had, for the longest time, a giant white husky outside And then now he has a newer dog, but he was always out. He was always friendly. He always had kind words, I thought. He's very supportive, and he'll be missed.
Alderman Senate.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, just to share the condolences to the Kagan family. I don't think Bob Kagan knew who I was, but I certainly knew who he was during the pandemic when I spent a lot of time walking up and down Main Street on my lunch breaks when I was working from home. I'd often see him outside, and in spite of being a complete stranger to him, he always had a smile and a hello for me, which was always something I looked forward to. So he definitely will be missed.
Anyone else? Alderman Dowd.
Yes, I have a copy of the list that the mayor was talking about. I'm going to send it to Donna so she can send it to everybody on the board if they haven't seen it. Evaluations for all the cities.
Anyone else? Okay. Recognition period.
Sunset Heights Elementary School recognized as a National Distinguished School for its exceptional student performance and academic growth.
I'm going to recognize Mayor Donches.
So as we discussed last time, 2 weeks ago, Sunset Heights, I don't know if Alderman Senate went there,
No, but
live in the neighborhood now. Sunset Heights became a distinguished schools program and was recognized as one of 2 schools in the state of New Hampshire. Senator came there and went and gave you an award, and Senator Hassan, and she called upon, it was really incredible, like she asked people to, kids to raise their hand if they loved math. And I figured, like no one's going to raise their hand, right? Who loves math? But half the school raises their hand. And then who likes reading? Senator Hassan asked, who likes reading? The rest of them, again, many hands went up. And it just showed how inspiring the staff, the principal, this is Erin Anderson, who's the principal of the school, how inspiring she has been and her staff has been for these kids, and what a good job they've done in improving test scores and performance of the young students who go there. So we have an official proclamation congratulating the students and staff at Sunset Heights, whereas the national, and it reads, whereas the National ESEA Distinguished School Program is a project of the NAESPA that publicly recognizes qualifying federally funded schools across the country for positive educational advances and the outstanding academic accomplishments of their students. And whereas established in 1996, the program showcases hundreds of schools recognized by the state education agency for their success in one of the 3 categories: exceptional student performance and academic growth, closure of the achievement gap between student groups, and excellence in serving special populations of students, such as those experiencing homelessness, those who have migrated to the United States, or those with disabilities, and more. And whereas Sunset Heights was selected because of their commitment to ensuring all of their students receive equal opportunities and support in order to be successful in their primary school years and beyond. Now, therefore, I, Jim Donches, Mayor of the City of Nashua, and the Board of Aldermen, do hereby recognize and thank the dedicated staff who work within Sunset Heights and congratulate the students on their hard work and wonderful achievements on this day, January 28th, 2025.
I wasn't going to say anything, but then the microphone was right here. So, so when Senator Hassan came, I was explaining to her what we utilize our federal funding for. With the previous comment of federal funds kind of being put on hold. as a possibility. As an educator, that's quite frightening because we do depend on that money. And we utilize our federal funding for a social and emotional teacher and support staff there because although the award is for academic achievement, we believe wholeheartedly in the whole child, and that if children aren't ready to learn, then no matter how great the curriculum, how great the teachers, they're not ready to receive it. So we work on those ready to learn skills. And one of the scenarios or one of the explanations that I gave to Senator Hassan was that if a child can read on a Friday afternoon when we send them home, they're going to come to school on Monday and they can read still. If a child is secure in their housing or in a stable home or socially and emotionally intact on a Friday afternoon, but goes home on a weekend and has a house fire or a death in the family tragically or a domestic situation in their home or neighborhood, they come to school a different child. And being able to meet their needs socially and emotionally in that moment, in the school setting that they're comfortably in, is invaluable and something that we really need and something that we need to keep. So that's where I think that we're able to make the gains because we have that ready for us at school. So where I wasn't going to say anything, I felt like that was important and timely as well. Thank you. I really appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Reading minutes of previous meetings. There being no objection, I'll declare the minutes of the Special Board of Aldermen meeting of January 7th, 2025 be accepted, placed on file, and the reading suspended. Communications requiring only procedural actions and written reports from liaisons.
Communication has been received from Sam Durfee, Planning Manager, regarding referral from the Board of Aldermen on Resolution R-24-120, authorizing the conveyance of portions of Dozer Road in map 114, lot 233.
There being no objection, I'll accept the communication and place it on file. Period for public comment relative to items expected to be acted upon this evening. We have one person signed up, Andy Perlman.
Believe he's upstairs and conducting other business.
Okay, all right, then we will move on to communications requiring final approval.
Communication has been received from Mayor Jim Donchis regarding multi-year contract award photocopiers with Toshiba Business Solutions US Bank.
Alderman Gavea.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to accept, place on file, and approve a renewal of a 60-month lease replacement of 4 copiers for the print shop, fire training, accounts payable, and Elm Street parking garage with Toshiba Business Solutions / US Bank in the amount of $39,000. Funding will be through Department 122 Information Technology Fund, General Fund 54 Property Services.
You've heard the motion. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries.
Communication has been received from Mayor Jim Donchis regarding $1 million contract award, Hunt Tower Window Restoration Project.
Alderman Thibodeau.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to accept, place on file, and award a contract for construction services for the Hunt Tower Window Restoration Project with Martini Northern in the amount of $1,409,933. Funding will be through Department 131 Hunt Building Fund, Grants 54, Property Services.
You've heard the motion. Discussion on that motion. Alderman Tebow.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know if Mr. Roach or anybody else knows the answer to this question. And the grant, there's a grant part of this. Is this grant money we already have, or is it, I don't know if anybody knows that. Because wasn't there a match for this?
We have, well, Amy is here, but we have the money and the grant, we appropriated the match.
Okay. So we should be good then. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
And that motion carries. Petitions,
None.
nominations, appointments, and elections.
Board of Registrars, Jennifer McCormick, new appointment, term to expire February 11th, 2028. 43 Lund Street, Nashua, New Hampshire, 03060.
There being no objection, I'll accept the appointment by the mayor as read and refer it to the Personnel and Administrative Affairs Committee. Reports of committees. There being no objection, I'll declare the report of the January 6, 2025 Personnel Administrative Affairs Committee be accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I'll declare the report of the January 8, 2025 Finance Committee be accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I'll declare the report of the January 13, 2025 joint meeting between the Board of Police Commissioners and the Committee on Infrastructure be accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I'll declare the report of the December 13, 2025, I think that's 2024, joint meeting of the Board of Public Works and the Committee on Infrastructure be accepted and placed on file. There being no objection, I'll declare the report of the January 21st, 2025 Human Affairs Committee be accepted and placed on file. Confirmation of mayor's appointments.
None.
Unfinished business at previous meeting. Okay, we're not, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Clerk.
Communications has been received from Mayor Jim Donchis regarding $1 million contract, Minuteman Security and Life Safety.
Alderman Moran.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to remove from the table the $1 million contract with Minuteman Security and Life Safety.
Motion is to remove from the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you,
Alderman
Madam
Moran.
President. I would now like to make a motion to accept, place on file, and award a contract for construction of the fire alarm upgrades project with Minuteman Security and Life Safety in the amount of $1,395,000. Funding will be through Department 169 Wastewater Fund, Wastewater 81 Capital Outlay Improvements.
Thank you. We have wastewater superintendent Dave Boucher here. Can you give us a little overview of this, please?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Dave Boucher, wastewater superintendent. This is for a complete upgrade of the fire alarm system at the wastewater treatment facility. Most of the system's over 20 years old. We've had a lot of issues with it. The fire department can attest how many times they've been to our facility for false alarms. This would make the entire facility addressable. Some of our buildings don't have fire alarm systems in it. There's about 16 buildings at the facility, multi-level. So this would replace all the controllers in all the buildings, pull boxes, light and audible alarms, smoke and heat detectors throughout the facility. So this went out to bid. The system would be the Honeywell notifier system, which is pretty standard in the system. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have any questions? I know we didn't pass this at the last committee, at the last full board meeting, so. Seeing none, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate your time. So you've heard the motion. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Unfinished business resolutions.
Second reading of R-24-120, authorizing the conveyance of portions of Dozer Road in map 114, lot 233.
Alderman Jettie.
Yeah, I move for final passage of R-24-109, and I'd like to speak on that.
120?
120.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 120.
That's okay. Alderman Jettie.
So I had a lot to say about 109, but no, it's about 120. So this is a resolution to convey a portion of Dozer Road and a small portion of land adjacent to it to the John J. Flatley Company. This area is north of Spitbrook Road. It's accessed by Tara Boulevard and Innovative Way. It's west of the F.E. Everett Turnpike, south of Proctor Park, and east of Spindlewick Drive. So Dozer Road runs west of and parallel to the Everett Turnpike. It was an access road that was used during the construction of the turnpike between the Mass border and Exit 3. So For a long time, the Everett Turnpike ended at what is now Exit 3, turned down to Daniel Webster Highway, crossed over the Massachusetts border into Tingsboro, and then in Tingsboro, it picked up Route 3 in Massachusetts. And for a long time, the two were never connected. But when they were, there was this large construction project, and this Dozer Road was used for heavy construction equipment. I'm assuming there were bulldozers, and that's where the name Dozer comes from. But so the Flatley Company owns that property now and is building a 49-unit subdivision on the north part of the property and another building on the south part of the property. This has all been vetted by the planning board and has received planning board approval. But the Dozer Road needed to be discontinued, but there was some issues about the title. So an agreement was reached for the Flatley Company to purchase whatever rights the city has in Dozer Road for $67,000, which was a price agreed upon and consistent with an appraisal that the city obtained. The planning board has recommended passage, as has the Planning and Planning and Economic Development Committee. So I ask that you pass it as well. Thank you.
You've heard the motion. Further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries, and Resolution 24-120 is declared duly adopted.
Second reading of R-25-125, amending the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Annual Action Plan for fiscal year 2025 relative to the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG.
Alderman Lopez.
I'd like to make a motion for final passage, but I'd like to speak to it.
Alderman Lopez.
I will probably, I will request this be tabled, but I did want to make sure that I was briefing the board. The reason we're reassigning these particular funds is because as part of the CDBG funding that we worked out the projects that had applied for and designated last year, the previous administration added radon testing as a requirement. Radon, as we know, we live in the granite state. The granite has naturally occurring radioactive material in it. Radon is basically an odorless radioactive gas that is a little bit higher in New Hampshire than other places because of all the granite, particularly in our old granite basements. So a lot of the organizations that have applied for funding now having to test for radon, that's an expense, and it was a surprise, and it's definitely something they want to address, but it's something that's going to cost money to address. So we had a couple of projects that weren't able to succeed or move forward. One organization went under. Another organization couldn't move forward with its development project. So the discussion at the Human Affairs Committee was to redesignate those funds to allow the programs that we have approved that also need support to test for radon to be able to do that. Because we're modifying the CDBG plan, there's a public comment period where the public can review what we talked about at the Human Affairs Committee meeting, weigh in on that, and because that comment period hasn't lapsed yet, we actually can't move forward with it. So I'm going to table it. I just wanted to make the comments to see if anybody had any questions. So
don't see any
seeing none,
questions.
I'd like to make a motion to table.
Motion is to table. Do you want to table it to the second meeting in February?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Motion is to table R-25-125 until the second meeting in February. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Unfinished business ordinances.
None.
New business resolutions.
First reading of R-25-126, authorizing the mayor to enter into an amended federal aid program project agreement with the state of New Hampshire for the purpose of installing rectangular rapid flashing beacons and to accept and appropriate an additional $86,344 for the project.
Additional sponsors. Alderman Moran, Alderman Senate, Alderman Tebow, Alderman Clee, Alderman Dowd, Alderwoman Kelly, Alderwoman Timmons. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Committee on Infrastructure, the Board of Public Works, and schedule a special Board of Aldermen public hearing on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025, in the Aldermanic Chamber at 7 p.m. New business ordinances.
First reading of O-24-047, establishing a new parking zone for the parking garages.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Moran, Alderman Lopez, Alderman Clee. Given its first reading, I'll assign that to the Committee on Infrastructure. Period for general public comment. We have 2 people signed up this evening. Bob Keating.
Hello, my name is Bob Keating, 5 Coburn Woods, and I'm speaking about a petition that we have submitted to the mayor and also the Board of Aldermen. I have copies up there. And I'm speaking on behalf of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Nashua, the Granite State Organizing Project, and the Day Cafe of St. Patrick's Church. I have about 60+ signatures about this. First thing I want to say, since you haven't seen the at this point in time the petition itself, and make it clear from very beginning before we speak about the concerns, is that we're very, very glad that the warming station is open. We clearly have had already brutal in terms of temperatures, below zero. Today I was speaking to Ms. Graham, and I was walking back from the Day Cafe, and at one point I was like stopped in my tracks. The temperature wasn't as low, but we know it's been brutal. So it is very good that it's there. I think it's being run very effectively. I've been there 3 times. The staff have been able to be responsive to the needs of people. It gives them more freedom than our other shelters in terms of being able to come and go. So it's good. In fact, I thought that if we had no other place, I'm not suggesting this, but if we had no other place, that we could probably have people could stay there that from throughout the city that are in our various programs. It's that big a space, so that's good. So I want to begin with that, because there's some rumor I had heard that said that somehow we were opposed to it. Absolutely not. What the concern is, and I've raised, excuse me?
No, 1 minute.
1 minute. So I've raised a number of people have raised the concern is we just think the sleeping arrangements is such that they can't lie down. The staff, again, is trying to be accommodating where people are, but it's just not good for people's health, period. I think, I have to go through the research. So simply, how for the Board of Aldermen and the mayor to do everything we can to ensure that
30 seconds.
If sleeping be there, fine. If it can't be done there, to locate another place. And moving forward, that next year we would be in a place that maybe even moving to the larger project that the health department is to say, where we have a 24/7 and permanent housing. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and hope that we can move in a way that it will add to already, which is a very good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Laurie Orlano?
Lori Ortolano, 41 Berkeley Street. I wanted to give a little input on the budget process. I know it was questioned recently on what the mayor's expectations were for the budget, and I think he mentioned that there would be no new hires and about a 4% increase. I think that's the wrong direction. I think there should be no new hires and a 4% decrease. And I say that because everyone's in a situation where revenues at the state have dropped, primarily because businesses aren't seeing the profits that they have seen. That's true for so many people I know. And why that doesn't impact this city to the point where our budget has to be reduced, I don't understand. I just don't think it's the right thing. And I think there has to be a realignment of positions. I think the finance office is not properly staffed. I am not an advocate, and I believe Ms. Enright should be terminated for cause at this point right now, based on what has happened with the communications and the type of information passed to the DOJ and citizens regarding those trust funds. There is a broken trust, a lack of honor, and I don't think she should be the person promoted to be the CFO, and I'm very concerned that's the direction the mayor is going in. There is no posted position for the CFO, even though that has been opened for over 6 months. And I think a lot of our problems in our finance office have been the result of only having a part-time CFO. And if you recall, a couple years ago, it was Cheryl Linder was promoted and moved from the mayor's office down into the finance office. I objected, and I had criticisms that she was not qualified. And there were problems in the office with that position. I had people from within that office personally call me to say it wasn't going well. I'm tired of seeing the wrong people put into positions in this city in very important offices that require great management. And the finance office is one, and I just don't think we've done the right thing there. So I'd like to see some realignment of positions. And as I said, I'm going to become a very strong advocate of terminating Ms. Enright's position for cause, because I can tell you, I feel that there has been a lot of broken trust on what happened with the trust funds. I received another right-to-know response from the city that was just absurd, that the presentation on the 14th, where I sent questions over the weekend to board members, were answered in that presentation. There were 4 direct questions. They were not answered. Nobody picked them up. Also, with regard to the Ethics Committee, you know that I put in a complaint. I was trying to get a meeting scheduled, which I was entitled to, myself and Ms. Calhoun, within 30 days. The city violated that and did not schedule the hearing. It took 4 emails from me to push the city to go ahead and book that. And I don't think it's right. I don't think we should have to fight that hard for the rights we're entitled to. Thank you.
Remarks by members of the board. I'm going to start over here tonight. Alderman Tebow.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to wish Alderman O'Brien the best and hope he gets better soon, and that they're allowing him some of his favorite Hostess treats while he's in there. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that tonight. Thank you.
Alderman Senate.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to sort of pile on and add to the congratulations to the staff and the students at Sunset Heights Elementary. Mayor kind of called me out saying he didn't know if I went there. I didn't. I grew up in Ward 3 and went to school in Ward 2, so figure that one out. But my wife did go to Sunset Heights all throughout her elementary school education, so she was very excited to see her old school get a distinguished recognition, and they've definitely earned it. There's a lot of good things going on there, as there are in all of our schools, and it's very exciting to have a neighborhood school recognized. So kudos to them, and that's all I've got tonight.
Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you very much. I was impressed by Alderman Jetty's history of Dozier Road. So I wanted to pile on to that. But first, I just get well wishes to fellow Ward 9er Mike O'Brien. I hope he's doing well. And I hope he recovers soon and gets back to the chamber quickly. But back to history. This past Saturday was the 60th anniversary of the visit from John F. Kennedy to Nashua. And on Monday, yesterday, at Nashua Rotary, we had the head of the John F. Kennedy Museum come speak to the club. And he had a lot of pictures from the day. And he showed us the schedule from Senator Kennedy. When he came, he made, so he spelled out the timeline that Jack Kennedy announced he was going to run for president January 2nd, came to Nashua January 25th, and had the New Hampshire primary first week of March and won. So when you think about that time, it's amazing, how that happened. But a lot of the platitudes that he touched on in his speech, I listened to it when the executive director read it, and I swear that you could read that same speech in January of 2025, speaking to the importance of our democracy the importance of the primary system, the importance of geopolitics and America's place in the world. And it was just a great moment and a really good moment for Nashua to, celebrate that 60 years. So I just wanted to bring that up. Thanks.
Alderman Lopez.
I wanted to just comment from my personal position that I appreciate Don Enright as a city employee. Personally, I find it distasteful when people in public comment target a specific employee because that employee is trying to work, is trying to be employed, and it's not often that you have the opportunity to sort of blast them to the entire public. So that always gets my hackles up. If someone disagrees with their performance, then the performance speaks for itself. But I worked with Dawn, and I know she's done a lot of work, particularly on attempting to introduce revisions to the spending cap to sort of reimagine it as a tax cap so that we're focusing more on not adding additional taxes to taxpayers versus limiting what the city can do for taxpayers. So I appreciate the work that she's done. I have found her to be very intelligent, very knowledgeable, and hardworking. So I wanted to express that. I also wanted to address a piece of legislation that was introduced regarding the parking zone being created. I don't know if this is a perfect example of law of unintended consequences or not, but we put a performing arts center next to a parking garage, and then we rezoned the parking garage so that all the spaces on it were reserved, which has caused a major problem downtown over the last couple of weeks, as every time there's a show, 700 new parkers show up in front of coffee shops that are trying to do their regular business, sandwich shops, that kind of stuff. So the parking department was already aware of this and was working on presenting a solution. Some staff outages did cause a problem with that, but they are working to present the solution. I'm looking forward to it being heard by the infrastructure and moved on quickly. And then finally, I wanted to comment on the petition that the board received. I was particularly alarmed because the Elm Street warming station is basically an emergency stopgap, and it's only just been launched. So to start seeing concerns or what I viewed as criticisms of it, I thought was very premature. And I am particularly grateful to the staff that have been working very hard to make a program like that work, because I have direct experience trying to do that in establishing the Safe Station program and in managing an emergency shelter as well. So I know it can be very complicated putting together staff who are able to provide acute human services overnight. And doing that at the beginning of January and over the holiday season, I think amazing work was done. I think it's essential to our community. There's people who really, really needed that place to stay. And I have personally been very clear that this is not the solution. This is just a management of a problem because we haven't found a solution. The city needs to increase its emergency shelter capacity. It needs to create mechanisms for people to be able to connect with supportive services and find actual solutions out of their situations. And there are a lot of organizations that are working on doing that. There's a lot of recovery organizations, mental health supports, transitional housing programs, and domestic violence programs, but they also need something to rally around. And when they get applicants and when they get patients or clients to work with, those people need a place to stay that's safe when it's 6 degrees out. So it is essential, I think, that we have at least the stopgap before we can provide the better solution. I do think we need to be working on a program that will allow people to sleep, and increasing shelter capacity is an essential goal. So I appreciate the people coming forward to present that. I did ask Director Bagley if she could be present to answer some of our questions, and ironically, she's working at the warming station tonight. So there are eyes on it. It is a program that we are working to try to improve every day, and I think we all agree that it's not an adequate solution, and there's no adequate solution until we have our residents able to support their housing, able to sustain their living, and able to live independently again.
Alderman Gavea.
Thank you, Madam President. Just wanted to thank the National Cultural Diversity Awareness Council. Last Monday, they held their 21st annual Keeping the Dream Alive Dr. Martin Luther King dinner. It was a great event. My wife and I went, and would suggest next year, if anybody here has never gone to it, solid dinner. We heard from our governor. We heard from the district directors of our 2 congressional representatives. They were both happened to coincide with Inauguration Day, so they were down in D.C., but we got to hear from their staff members as well. So it was a really good dinner and a nice night.
Alderwoman Timmons.
Well, thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Ms. Anderson, congratulate her for the work that she does over at Sunset Heights. Matter of fact, I sent that picture that I'd taken over to my granddaughter, and she was excited, and she wanted me to tell her congratulations. She'll see her tomorrow in school. So, Ms. Anderson, you did a great job. They seem to love you over there at Sunset, and I do too. So, thanks.
Committee announcements.
Oh, I
Alderwoman
do
Kelly,
have
do you have a
one.
motion?
I do have a
Move to adjourn.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yes, the Cultural Connection is meeting tomorrow at 12 o'clock noon
Okay.
in the auditorium.
Thank you. Alderwoman Kelly.
Move to adjourn.
Motion is to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:16 PM. Thank you, everyone.